Welcome to this series on SAP and Azure. This is a lab on SAP data integration using the Azure Data Factory. My name is Ross Laforte. I am an SAP Solution Specialist for Microsoft. Let's first start with a quick introduction of what is Azure Data Factory. It's a fully managed data integration service for cloud scale analytics on Azure. It has rich connectivity with over 90 connectors, has built-in transformation to transform data at scale. It's able to orchestrate the data processes, and it's fully integrated with all the Azure data services. It's a very scalable, serviceless solution, pay-as-you-go environment. It has a drag and drop UI, single pane of glass for monitoring, and has all the security and compliances. Next is a quick overview on the SAP HANA Connector that we'll be using for this lab. The SAP HANA Connector, it's suitable for ingestion of data from SAP HANA databases. It works with SAP on-prem or SAP in the cloud. It supports HANA informational models like analytic and calculated views, and also has the capability of connecting to row column tables. It has support for basic user and password, and also can do single sign-on via Kerberos, constrained delegation. And it's built on top of the SAP HANA ODBC driver, which you will download from the SAP Marketplace. It runs on the Azure Data Factory self-hosted integration runtime. What the self-hosted integration runtime is a piece of code that creates a pipe between the HANA environment that's running on its own VNet and Azure Data Factory running in the cloud, in a cloud service. The Azure Data Factory self-hosted integration runtime needs to run on a VM, and it needs to be a Windows VM. It needs to have two things installed. One is the SAP HANA ODBC driver installed on the VM, and second, it needs to have the Azure Data Factory self-hosted integration runtime installed. The VM needs to be in the same VNet with SAP, and it has to be able to connect to SAP using the HANA ODBC driver. So it has to be networked in the same within the SAP environment. It's the SAP HANA connector is a very high performance connector. It's built with parallel options. So in other words, you could do data partitioning to load very large data volumes, and it could load terabytes of data. And we've seen runs doing dozens of millions to billions of rows. And I've seen megabytes per second. And it really depends on the environment and the complexity of the environment that you're loading data. So for this lab, what we're going to do is we're going to take data from SAP S4HANA. We're going to have an integration runtime, self-hosted, which will be on a VM that we will create. And then we are going to have an Azure Data Factory pipeline pulling data through SAP S4HANA using the integration runtime, and copying it to an Azure Blob Storage on Azure. Okay, so that's the intent of this lab, to show you the capabilities, also the components you need to install to successfully pull data from SAP and move it into Azure. So instead of an Azure Blob Storage, this could have been a SQL Server data warehouse, a SQL Server SQL DB. It could have been a Azure Synapse. Um, that's all possible with Azure Data Factory. In order to run this lab, we need to have a couple prerequisites. You would need your own Azure subscription. Okay. You will need access to your SAP HANA environment. And you also need to have access to the SAP HANA Client 2.0, which is the ODBC driver to connect to HANA. How to download it? The link is here. How to download and configure. Just note, you would need an S user ID on the SAP Marketplace in order to download this. Okay. So let's get started with the lab. What we're going to do is connect and copy SAP HANA data with Azure Data Factory to Azure Storage Account. This Azure subscription, and we are going to create a storage account. Let's do that first. Okay, let's create a quick storage account, and then we'll do the Data Factory, the VM next. Okay, let's say new. We'll create a brand new account. We say ADF underscore lab. Okay. Let's call the Azure storage account sales data, and we're gonna put it inside the East US2. That's, by the way, East US2 is what the SAP HANA instance is at. So if that would make it, would be within the same data center. And we don't really need read access. We just need a simple local redundant storage. Okay. So we have that created. So we go next. Okay. Everything else stays the same here. No change. No change here either. Okay. We keep going. Say create. Okay. Verifies, and then goes in and creates it. Okay. That's the first part. So that's going to deploy that. While it's deploying, let's go and go back and do the virtual machine and get that ready. Okay, so we go back, virtual machine, say new, and then we'll choose the ADF lab, and let's call the virtual machine, okay, let's call that virtual machine ADF. VM, and then we'll call this EAST2. Okay, and then we want this to be a Windows machine because that's integration runtime only supports it's only supported in a Windows OS. Okay, well, let's change this to a VM a little bit larger so we have a little more capacity to run resources. So let's say we got a 4-core 16 gig VM. Good. Okay, let's get a username, ADF admin, and let's give it a password. Oops, let's make sure I got it right. Okay, now let's make sure we select the ports here. Okay, and everything's fine. Go next, and standard SSD is good. Good. Okay, so everything else is good here, and network is good. Okay, we're just going to create it. Okay, so that's going to take a few minutes to create, and then I'm going to pause while it's going and creating the. Well, in fact, it's here. Let's click create. So I'll pause it. Okay, so the VM has been created. Let's click on it here, resource, and we have the VM. Also, we do have the storage account. Let's go to the storage account. We want to create a container in it, and we click here, and we say container. So we want to have a container to put in the data, sales data. Okay. Create. Okay, so we have a container created. So let's go back to the storage account. Let's go to the VM. And now we want to connect within the VM and do the rest of the work from within the VM. Okay, click connect, RDP. Okay, and we click download the RDP file. Click open. Okay. Okay, connection, and we say this is the ADF VM, and it's ADF MN as password. Let me just put a password here. Okay, and we connect. Okay, so all the rest of the work we'll be doing for this lab is from within the VM. Okay, we're initializing the VM. Okay, say no. You want to. Now we are inside my portal. I'm just gonna go to my subscription where I'm gonna do when I'm gonna actually do the rest of the work. There we go. All right. So now we're gonna create an Azure Data Factory environment here. So we're gonna go into services. Data Factory. Okay, and we're gonna say we're gonna create a new one. Okay, so here we're gonna call it Azure Data Factory. Let me see. SAP Lab, or let's say Lab for SAP. Okay, V2 resource group. We're going to use the same resource group. Put everything in the same place. We're going to use East US2. We don't need this. Okay, and we have everything we need to start deploying it. Okay, go to the resource, and there we have it. Okay, so the next thing we do is we want to go to the author and monitoring. And let's see, we want to create new pipeline. And the first thing we need to do is create a gateway to the SAP environment. So we click here and we want to go to runtimes. Okay, the only thing we have is the auto resolve integrated runtime. So we have to add another one, say new. Okay, and we want the self-hosted runtime. Okay. Okay, we're in this one. To connect to SAP here, you just give it a name. Okay. Okay, Let's see if it's okay. And then here's the keys to connect to it, to runtime. But we're going to do the express. If you want to do manual, you need the key to install it. But I'm going to do express, which is going to install everything automatically for me. So click on install, and it's going to download it and do an express full install. And the reason we're doing it within the VM is so that it installs automatically into the VM and installs the keys and everything. That's the reason we're using running Azure Data Factory from within the VM. Okay, so here it installs the integration runtime. Now, while this is installing, one thing I want to mention is that an integrated runtime can only be associated to one Azure Data Factory right now, as of this time, which means is the integration runtime itself could actually be connected to many data sources, but only one Azure Data Factory can connect to that integration runtime. Okay. So what it's going to do is download it, install it, and then it's fully installed, loading the configuration, downloading it, installing it, and then registering using these keys. Okay. It's all done as a single express setup. If we were to choose this setup, then you would install it, and then you would have to provide the key. Okay, so I saved that kind of step. So we have copied the driver in, so let's extract it. And then we'll install it. Okay, installed. So let's go back and proceed with the setting up the data set. Okay, so we go here, create a new data set. We could choose SAP, and we want the HANA connector. Okay, and here we say we want to create an SAP connection. Okay, new connection. And we will use the runtime. Okay, the name of the server. Let's test the connection. Okay, connection successful. So let's go and create it. Okay. So okay, next step is we will we'll use the create the pipeline. Okay, and when we create the pipeline, we're going to we're just going to connect the point to the SAP HANA and copy the data to the Azure Blob Storage. Okay, so here, create a pipeline. And the new pipeline where we want this copy command, we just do a simple copy for this. Okay, so just add a copy. We'll call this SAP HANA to let's see, spaces here. SAP HANA to okay, to Blob Storage. Okay. See, that's that. We have that done here. Now let's go to the connection and choose the SAP HANA. Okay. That's the one we're going to use. Okay. So what we're going to do first of all, in order to get that, is we are going to open and choose a table. Okay. And in this case, we're going to choose the daily sales table. Okay. You can choose any table you want. Just click open. Okay, we see there's just a little bit of data, so I can show you that we're moving data across. Okay, product data and amounts for each one of these. Okay, like I said, in addition to that, there's a lot of different and larger tables here as well that you can choose from. Just to make this run very fast and complete the demo, we're going to do the simplest. Okay, all right, so we have that chosen. Parameters, we could add any parameters here. Okay. Let's go back to the pipeline. So we have chosen that. Let's sure, data showing. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is we need to create a sink where we're going to land the data into. So we're going to click on sink. I'm going to say new. Okay. Now in this case, we're going to say blob storage. Create. And we're going to just do a deliberate text to make it simple. Okay. SAP sales, daily sales. Okay. We're going to say new. So it's going to ask us to create a new blob storage. The name is probably okay. Let's see if it connects to that. Yes, connected. Okay. Click OK. And see, now we need to do is put in. We could either browse, let's see, or we could just put in a connector. Okay, we want to browse this guy, and we do the sales data. That's where we're going to put the data into. Click OK here. Okay, so now we have everything ready to go. So we hopefully if everything works out. So the next thing we need to do is publish this. So we have everything published, and then we execute it. Okay. So now we just do a quick trigger, and we'll test the connection out from end to end. And let's go to the monitor here and make sure that it completes. Okay, and we just moved the data from the SAP HANA to the blob storage. So let's go to the blob storage and look at that data and make sure it's there. Okay, so we go to here and we could look at the, okay, let's go the storage and go into the container. Okay, and sales container, and there's your file. Click on the file and see there's a file here. We could click download and open the file, and here's your data. Okay, this completes the lab, so that we went and did we actually, let's go back here and review quickly. So we created integration runtime. The integration runtime to connect to SAP HANA. We then installed the driver. We created a connection between SAP and Azure Data Factory, and then we create a pipeline to take data from SAP HANA, the sales data, okay, and put it on the Azure Blob Storage. Now you could have done as an exercise, you could do the same thing with a SQL Server. You could take data from SAP HANA map it to a SQL Server table, and copy this just the same way as I did to an Azure Blob Storage. Okay, so that's something else, another exercise you could do.